Okay, in this video we will start the topic of nomenclature in organic chemistry, which is a really broad topic, and it's very important and it's different from any kind of nomenclature you've seen in any other chemistry class. And the first thing we're going to learn about is how to name an alkane. And an alkane is a saturated hydrocarbon. So you may have heard the word hydrocarbon before. That means only consisting of hydrogen and carbon. You may not have heard this saturated term before, and that means only single bonds, so only carbon-carbon single bonds. No double or triple bonds of any kind are in a saturated molecule. And there's really two main ways to name molecules in organic chemistry. We have a method called IUPAC, and we have a method called the common name. IUPAC is a really systematic way to name molecules. There's a certain process that you follow that any chemist around the world could replicate, and you can get the name of, or get the structure of a molecule systematically by looking at its name. And IUPAC stands for the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. The common name is non-systematic. You can't really get a molecule structure by looking at its name because it's more a name that you have to memorize. It's non-systematic, so it's not something that you can get or ascertain just by looking at the written name. You have to memorize what the structure looks like and correlate it to its name. So we more often than not will use the IUPAC method, but we'll name some things via the common name. All right, so really, how do we name an organic molecule? And the first thing that's really important to understand is the idea of a parent chain. And this term will pop up over and over and over again. And a parent chain is the longest continuous chain of carbons in a molecule. And I'll abbreviate carbons like that. Now, this is kind of the first thing you want to do when naming an organic molecule. So I'll kind of start a list of nomenclature rules. And the first thing you want to do is find the parent chain. And we'll build upon these rules throughout the next couple videos. Now, a parent chain is something that dictates the base name of the molecule. That will make sense in a second. So let me give you an example. So let's say we had the following molecule. Now remember, this is line angle, so each of these intersections is a carbon. So we have a 5-carbon chain here. And there's really only one way to number this parent chain. Many ways, we'll often see that there's many ways to number a parent chain, but in this case you really can only go across. And now we're going to make a table of the number of carbons versus what we would call the parent chain. So if we had 1 carbon, the parent chain would be named methane. 2 carbons in the parent chain would be called ethane. 3 propane. 4 butane. 5 pentane. 6 hexane. 7 heptane, 8 octane, 9 nonane, and 10 decane. And we really won't see anything above 10. So the number of carbons in your parent chain versus the name of the parent chain corresponding to that number of carbons. Now, you may notice that each of these end in ane. Each of these end in ane, and that's intentional. The ane means that these are all alkanes. And you'll see that we have prefixes in front of these that represent the number of carbons in that chain. Now, in the beginning here, you have to really memorize these because they're not simple to get from the prefix, but the rest are. But it is important that you memorize these parent chain names. So, for example, when we were looking over here, we have this 5-carbon parent chain, and we now know that this would be called pentane. So the ane, once again, means that it's an alkane, and the pent means that there's 5 carbons in the parent chain. So we will pick up after this in the next video.